Hello, neighbor. Good morning. Nike, the new tenant who had just moved into one of the flats in the compound, greeted Dupe, an older tenant. Please, do you people have a cleaner whose services I can use? I really need a cleaner, said Nike. Dupe observed her and saw that her approach was a respectful one, and she also looked beautiful. Yes, we have someone we use. She comes by 10 a.m. every day. Might not be home when she comes. Let me give you her number. She is good and dedicated, said Dupe. As she brought out her phone, Nike took an excuse from her, went inside and came out with her phone. She typed in the number as Dupe called it. Her name is Yetunde. You can give her a call. Thank you, neighbor. I'm Nike, the new tenant. And I'm Dupe, an old tenant, replied Dupe, who chuckled. Nike laughed. They both went their different ways. Nike tried to call the number, but the owner didn't pick. She had tried it 3 times in the space of 6 hours. What kind of bad attitude is this? At least, you should call back when you miss a call. It might be something that would change your life. Nike soliloquized in her office as she fumbled with her phone. She is an economist and she works in a private company that pays her fairly well. She gets home late on some days and she gets home early on some days. On this particular day, she got home late, so she wasn't able to approach Dupe's flat to tell her the person whose number she gave her wasn't picking her call. Then, the next morning, she had seen her neighbor when she was going to work. Good morning, Dupe. How are you? That lady didn't pick her call, so. In fact, I tried it over 3 times yesterday, Nike said. So this girl has not changed her attitude. I have warned her several times to cultivate the habit of picking her calls. What if it's a call that would change her life for good? Said Dupe with a concerned face. Exactly what I said to myself when I kept calling and she wasn't picking. I am even in doubt as to if I want to work with such a person, because communication with her will be difficult, Nike lamented. Dupe tried to put in a good word for the cleaner and promised to be on the lookout for when she comes around. Nike went into her apartment. Nike was relaxing in her living room in the evening of that same day. She had closed early from work, so she was watching the TV while taking a glass of juice. She had a knock on the door. She went to open the door. She saw her neighbor and a strange lady beside her. Good evening, neighbor. This is Yetunde, the cleaner I told you about, said Dupe. Good evening, ma, she greeted. Good evening, Yetunde. Why haven't you been picking your calls? Do you know how important it is to pick calls, especially for the kind of work you do? Said Nike, who had refused to pretend to the stranger. Nike doesn't pretend to be cool with you when she's angry. Yesterday had been told by Dupe that someone had been looking for her, but she didn't expect the person would be this outspoken. She thought she would at least welcome her well as a stranger. Yetunde refused to answer to the complaint. We are sorry. I have warned her and she won't repeat it. Please give her the job, said Dupe. Nike stared at Yetunde. But I don't think she is sorry. She isn't saying anything. Why are you the one apologizing on her behalf? Asked Nike. I was busy. That was why I didn't pick your call, said Yetunde. That still isn't an apology. What happened to calling back? If I hire you and I go to work, then I need to call you to give you instructions about how to handle my house while cleaning. Is this how I will have a hard time getting through to you? Asked Nike. Again, Yetunde was quiet and just staring at her. Nike noticed a subtle sign of arrogance. Refusing to assure someone whom you've given reasons to doubt you is arrogance, because it means the person doesn't care about the hurt you are going through. A voice whispered to Nike in her head. I can't work with her, she said, and attempted to enter her apartment. I am sorry, ma, said Yetunde, holding her hands and looking down. Nike turned back when she heard her voice. Oh, so you can talk? I didn't know you can talk, oh. I thought you were deaf and dumb, said an angry Nike. After some deliberations, Nike ushered them into her living room. Nike offered her the job. She was given the days to come, and she was also given a stern warning on picking her calls. 2 weeks after that, Nike had seen Dupe in the compound. Good evening, Dupe. I must confess, that cleaner does a good job. She cleans perfectly, she said. Yes, she does. That was why I didn't want you to lose her the other time. She has her weaknesses, but she is good at her job, said Dupe. They both engaged in some small talks, then dispersed. On Saturday, Nike was relaxing in her room in the evening. She had Dupe and another person gisting loudly in the compound. Their voice sounded like that of someone she knows, so she went out to check. She realized that Dupe was having a chat with Yetunde, their cleaner. Nike was surprised. She had always thought Yetunde was a quiet lady, but there she was, talking loudly and energetically. Neighbor, I always thought this lady was a quiet type, oh, said Nike. Quiet? Did you just say quiet? How can a village girl be quiet? Where did you get that from? Asked Dupe, who laughed at Mr. Talks. Auntie, I'm not the quiet type, oh. I just don't talk until I feel free with a person. Not the first time we met, you were really harsh on me. Since then, I just concluded you were not the friendly type, so I kept my lively self to myself, explained Yetunde. What do I need your lively personality for? Does it put food on my table? Asked Nike. Don't mind the silly girl, said Dupe, smiling. You will get to enjoy her, oh. She's fun to be with, said Dupe. Nike wanted to protest, but then Dupe had the sound of a shoe cobbler and Dupe called out to him. She ran inside to pack a collection of damaged footwears while the cobbler settled himself down. When Dupe brought out the footwears, the cobbler checked them and mentioned the amount for all. Dupe complained that it was too much. How can I pay 8,000 naira? Is it a capital project? The cobbler tried to explain to her that the shoes were many, which require skills as they are high-heeled shoes. But Dupe wasn't ready to pay that amount or anything close to it. The cobbler stood up and wanted to leave. Yetunde stopped him in the Hausa language. She went close to him and negotiated with him. Nike and Dupe watched on. They didn't understand what they were communicating. After 2 minutes of talking, the cobbler sat down and agreed that she could pay 5,000 naira. Dupe was very happy. Nike stared at Yetunde in awe. That's why I love having you around. You are an asset, she said. They watched the cobbler repair the footwears as they engaged in small talks. Nike suddenly fell in love with Yetunde's personality. She is beautiful and has a good sense of dressing. Despite being poor and wearing obvious cheap dresses, she matches them together in excellent combinations. She also liked her bargaining power, which she saw in her some minutes ago. In the middle of her thoughts, Yetunde interrupted. Auntie, don't you have any footwear you want to repair? I can help you negotiate the price too. No, I don't have any. I will let you know when I do. Thank you, Nike replied. When the cobbler was done, he left. Nike decided to go back to her flat. Before she left, she told Yetunde, feel free to visit me anytime you are free. Aside your usual working hours, you are an interesting personality, she said. Yetunde nodded, smiling and watching as Nike went into her flat. Didn't I tell you she will like you? You have an attractive aura. Have you noticed that about yourself? Said Dupe. Yes, I know, answered Yetunde proudly. My only problem with you is that you don't know how to manage relationships well. You have had closeness with a lot of great people, and by now you should have gone beyond this level, but you always blow it off, said Dupe with a sad face. I don't understand what you mean, Auntie. Nothing is wrong with me. Let me be on my way. "It's getting late," replied Yetunde, who picked her bag and walked out of the compound. Dupe shook her head. She wasn't surprised, as that was typical of Yetunde. She walks out whenever a life-changing discussion is about to take place. "I hope you learn before it's too late," she said, and went into her flat. A month later, Nike and the cleaner had become quite close. Though Nike still remained her boss, but she now keeps Nike company on weekends and some evenings when she is bored. Nike likes her company because she's a great storyteller. Nike had wooed her over by giving her gifts. Yetunde doesn't open up easily to friendship, and once you are good at giving gifts, she becomes your friend. That was the same strategy Dupe used. One would wonder what was so special about her that made comfortable ladies want to be friends with a cleaner. Nothing much, just a combination of her natural beauty, her unique dress sense, and her exceptional storytelling ability, which helps them cure boredom when they are bored. One day, Yetunde had gone to Nike's house on a Saturday evening. When she got into the living room, she saw Nike and her two friends in a celebration mood. They had bottles of wine and packs of pizza in front of them. They were celebrating Nike's promotion. Nike had just got promoted to a managerial position in her office. Her friends were elegantly dressed and their look showed wealth. They were also top professionals in their respective organizations. Yetunde had greeted Nike when she got into the living room. Nike wasn't surprised to see her, as her house had become free for Yetunde, who came in whenever she liked. Yetunde refused to greet Nike's friends and went into the other room. Her friends felt insulted. "Who was that?" asked Julia, one of Nike's friends. "That's my cleaner, who also doubles as my friend," Nike replied. Both friends stared shockingly at each other. "Your cleaner is your friend? How?" asked Rose, the second friend. "I just like her. She keeps me company in this lonely flat, and she's fun to be with," Nike said. Julia and Rose whispered to each other. "So, have we become so useless to you that you now choose a cleaner to play our role in your life?" asked Julia. "Come on, don't see it that way. People are always busy. When last did I see you?" She raised her head to think. "That's like 6 months ago. You know, I am not the outgoing type, so most times when I am at home, I need someone to interact with. And she fills the void," said Nike. Her friends still looked confused. Was that the reason she had the audacity to come in here without greeting us? "A cleaner for that matter," said Rose. Nike was displeased. "Please talk about her with respect," said Nike. Julia looked in shock. Then suddenly, she stood and went to whisper something into Nike's ears. "Are you now a lesbian? Is she your partner?" "Jesus!" exclaimed Nike. Julia went back to her seat. "Why would you say such about me? Do I look like someone who would indulge in such?" "Don't annoy me this evening." Rose looked confused, wondering what Julia had whispered to Nike. Okay, please. We have come here to celebrate. Let's not ruin it. I still have places I need to be, and I will be out of here in the next 5 minutes. Let's just make the best use of our short time together," said Rose, as she picked a glass of wine to drink. "It's okay. I just felt Nike should have called her cleaner to order for not greeting us. But it's all well and good," said Julia. "I am sorry about that. I will talk to her. Let's not let this ruin our celebration, please." She went to her sound system and turned on the music. Meanwhile, Yetunde had been at the door of the other room, eavesdropping on their conversations. 15 minutes later, they left. Yetunde went into the living room. "Why are your friends so arrogant?" said Yetunde. Nike turned back in shock. "What did you just say?" asked Nike. Yetunde kept quiet, then suddenly got her boldness back. "Why would they be telling you I didn't greet them? Are they better than me?" Why couldn't they greet me? Did they think they deserved my greeting just because they are rich? Are they feeding me? Asked Yetunde in a fit of anger. Nike looked surprised. Where is this coming from? How did you hear what my friends discussed with me? Don't tell me you have been eavesdropping on our conversation. Why would you do that? That's crass behavior. Also, why are you angry? If I say I understand the reason for your anger, I would be lying. You came into my house, met my friends, you refused to greet them. You went arrogantly into their room. They got angry and I calmed them down. Now you are here spinning rubbish. Yetunde, don't get too comfortable. I am not your mate. Never you repeat what you did and don't ever eavesdrop on my conversation anymore. Yetunde nodded and walked out of the apartment. Nike hissed. 3 days later, she realized she hadn't been seeing Yetunde. She hasn't come to do her job for 3 days. She has been coming to the compound to sweep, which usually falls in the hours she is at work, but she has refused to render a cleaning service to her anymore. Nike had tried to call her, but she didn't pick her calls. Dupe traveled, so she was unable to report the situation to her. Nike felt hurt. Was it because of the other time? Did I say anything wrong? And if she will no longer be working with me, was you not meant to let me know? What kind of unprofessionalism is this? Nike soliloquized. She felt so hurt that she wanted to tell the estate management that her access to their estate should be terminated, but the love she had for her restrained her. She would have to get another cleaner, but she needs to tell Yetunde a piece of her mind. Some days later, Nike was walking into the compound after closing from work. She ran into Yetunde, who was walking out of her compound. She stared at her, planning to start a conversation with her, but Yetunde just walked past her. Nike stood freezed. She rubbed her eyes well to ensure it was really Yetunde she saw. She didn't expect such a behavior from someone she had given gifts many times. After some seconds of standing and thinking, she went to her flat. She decided never to have anything to do with her again. She put a call through to an agency to help her get a cleaner. A week later, a new cleaner was sent to her. She maintained her boss position and left of friendship with the new cleaner. 1 month later, Dupe has returned from her journey and she went to her flat to greet her. Dupe was on a call when Nike came in. She had beckoned to her to sit down. Dupe was speaking on phone. You know I just got back from travel now, so I can't visit you at all. I am very tired. I will send my maid to send you some beverages, said Dupe. Nike watched her, wondering who was sick. So, how much is 100,000 naira hospital bill that you can't pay? Come on, girl. You live for many rich people's houses around the axis, so you can't tell me you don't have 100,000 naira in your savings. Use that to sort yourself out. I would like to rest now. Like I said, I just got back from a long journey. I will call you later, said Dupe, who dropped the call and eased. All is well, asked the curious Nike. Don't mind this silly girl, oh. Yetunde, or what did she call her name? When you are trying to advise her on how to better her life, she walks out and gives you attitude. Now she's in the hospital and calling me to help her with hospital bills. Where did that girl get the audacity to ask me for 100,000 naira? I should give her my hard-earned 100,000. Am I her mother? She said. Nike was shocked at two things. Shocked that Yetunde was in the hospital and she didn't know. Shocked that Dupe, whom she thought was close to her, would behave in such manner during her time of need. What happened to her? Since when has she been in the hospital? I don't know. That's the list of my problems. Everyone with their problems. What I got from the UK, she said, as she changed the topic and started unpacking the huge bag before her. Nike's heart went out to Yetunde. Yetunde hadn't been in her best behavior towards her, but she had loved her like a sister. Sorry to interrupt you, Dupe. Please, what hospital is she in? She asked. Dupe stared at her in disgust before she answered. I don't know, but I think Shade should know. She called in her maid and asked her the question. She gave Nike the address. Nike thanked her. Nike was given a bottle of perfume by Dupe. She was so happy with the gift. She went to hug her. Some minutes later, Nike went out. On her way to the door, Dupe interrupted her. I know you have a good heart, but please try not to be too emotional when it comes to Yetunde. I know her more than you. That girl works for nothing less than 10 mansions in this axis. It's even possible she earns more than you. You know how much a house pays her? When she was with me, her salary was not less than 100,000 naira. Multiply that times how many houses she works in, she said. Nike nodded her head and went out. The next day, while coming back from work, she went to the hospital that Shade had directed her to. She asked for Yetunde's ward from the receptionist and she was directed to a ward. She saw Yetunde lie in bed. Her younger sister from the village was with her. Yetunde saw her and opened her mouth in shock. Teniola, her sister, greeted Nike. Auntie, you came, said Yetunde. Yes, I did. How are you? Asked Nike as she sat on her bed. Yetunde forced herself up as she was very weak. She hugged Nike. I'm so sorry for my behavior the other time. You didn't deserve such insolence from me. I don't know what came over me, she begged. It's okay, just a minute, said Nike, who went out to the cashier to pay. She brought the receipt to Yetunde, who shed tears of joy. You will never know shame. It won't be you alone in the journey of life, Yetunde prayed, tears in her eyes. Nike spent about 30 minutes with her and left. She promised to always call her. Yetunde felt ashamed after she left. She had thought Auntie Dupe would be the one to come through for her. The reverse was the case. She made up her mind to right her wrongs. She was discharged 2 weeks later. When she got healed, she had lost 3 of her houses she cleaned for, as they couldn't wait for her. It affected her a great deal, and she couldn't feed well, which was a requirement for her to really recuperate. She hadn't called Nike since her visit to appreciate her. During one of her hungry days, she decided to call her and asked if she was at home. Few minutes later, she was in Nike's house. Nike embraced her with open arms. I am sorry for not calling you all the while. I always had it in mind to call you, but I forgot, she said. It's okay, as long as you are recovered, that gives me joy, said Nike. They both sat in the living room, and after a few minutes of awkward silence, please ma, is there any food I can eat in this house? I am really hungry, she said. Nike looked shocked. Since she had become friends with her, she had never asked her for food. She served her only out of her volition, so she wondered where the new attitude came from. Nevertheless, she called her maid to serve the table. After the table was set by the maid, Yetunde went to the table to eat. Yetunde rushed the food like a hungry cow. Nike stared in amazement. Just before she could recover, Auntie, please, I don't know if I can get more food to take home. I really love the taste of this food. The chef did a great job, she said. It's okay, but she can just give you an extra plate. Why do you need to take home? Asked Nike, who was still confused. No, I am full for now. I want the one I can eat for dinner and breakfast tomorrow morning, said Yetunde as she munched on. Shocked, Nike dropped her spoon noisily. You mean you came to my house just for food? Asked a visibly angry Nike. And to think I thought you came here to apologize because you were sorry for all your deeds, she asked as she raised her voice. Yes, yes, auntie, I came to apologize and said Yetunde, who was surprised at the sight of Nike she was seeing. No, you didn't come to apologize. You came to eat my food. Why are you like this, Yetunde? Why are you trying to just use me? You know how much I love you, but rather than being a good friend, all you want to do is turn me into a prey and feast on me. You didn't even deem it fit to call me after I came to visit you in the hospital, and now you are here purposely to eat my food? Yetunde was on her knees at this point, as she didn't know her hunger would be so obvious. She had planned to do it subtly. How did she let her hunger override her composure? Tiny, Tiny, pack a lot of the various foods we have in the kitchen and bring them here, she said, her eyes flashing in anger. Yetunde kept begging her. Nike said nothing. Few minutes later, Tiny brought a box of food. Give it to her, she directed Tiny. Yetunde wanted to refuse the food. I will advise you take it, because either you take it or not doesn't change anything. You have lost me already, but because I can see you are hungry, take this food and get out of my house, she said and went in angrily. Yetunde was weeping. She refused to take the food and went out of the apartment. Tiny was looking at her pitifully. Dupe had seen Yetunde cry out of Nike's apartment because she was standing outside her flat. She laughed. This girl will never change. Nike thinks she can change her. I have never seen a poor yet arrogant lady like Yetunde, she soliloquized. Dupe had gone to Nike's flat after the sight. Neighbor, didn't I warn you about this lady that she would stain your white? But I guess you are Mother Teresa, full of love, said Dupe to Nike as she flung herself into one of the sofas in the living room. I can't remember you telling me that. Remember, you were the one that appraised her as an excellent person the first time I moved into this house and I was looking for a cleaner. So, what changed? Asked Nike, who was curious about how Dupe, who used to adore Yetunde, now hated her with disgust. She didn't offend me. I just realized she hates correction. I had good plans for her when I got close to her. I realized she had a lot of gifts, but massive character flaws which I knew would hinder her. I realized she had a lot of gifts, yet she also had massive character flaws which I knew would hinder her growth. No matter how nicely I corrected her, it was either she argued with me or walked out on me. At first, it didn't matter to me. Later, it dawned on me that was her being rude to me. I am not her mate and she knows that. Why would she think it was okay for her to always walk out on me when I tried to correct her? All because I gave her the gift of access. Can my current mate try it? Since then, I have decided to cut off any form of friendship with domestic staff. They will always exhibit that gutter behavior that is associated with their class, she said. Nike found her explanation as sensible. I don't know why my heart is so connected to hers. I just feel like she has greatness in her, and I really want to help her attain it, she said, with a concerned look on her face. Greatness? Forget it. That one can never be great. Great, K. Where did you see that? That one is too arrogant to be great, said Dupe. That statement challenged Nike. She hates it when people make such bold statements about people's lives. Having been a lady that grew from the slum and people had written her off for many years, and today she's a managing director in one of the top companies in the city. She has a principle that no one should be written off, and her greatest ambition in life is to help people attain their goals. She felt more energized to prove Dupe wrong. She didn't say anything again as Dupe kept talking. Some days later, Nike had a knock on her door. She was closer to the door than Tiny, so she went to open her door. Just then, she saw Yetunde standing before her, wearing a pitiful look. I realized I have not been good to you. You picked me, a total stranger, and lonely person up and decided I was fit to be your friend. You treated me like a queen. I ate at your table and even wore your clothes. What did I do? I slapped you with the returning gesture of ungratefulness. I am a fool who doesn't deserve to dine with queens like you. But if you have any place left in your heart to forgive me, I want to say I am sincerely sorry. I regret all I have done to you, and I wish I could turn back the ends of time. The past few weeks have been hell for me. My conscience wouldn't let me rest. It keeps pricking me, and that was why I decided to come today. I was here 2 days ago, but I met your door locked, she said. Just before Nike could respond, she went on her knees. Please forgive me. I need you in my life. I want to be the queen that you are. I want the royalty that you exude. Please give me a chance to be your friend again, and I promise I won't disappoint you, she said. Nike, drawn by her words, lifted her up. To her is human, to forgive is divine. I have forgiven you. Pray to God to forgive you. I can only accept your request on one condition, and the condition is you must do as I say whenever I instruct you, said Nike. Yetunde raised her left hand. I swear on my life, she said. Nike hugged her and ushered her in. She called the maid to set the table. Don't bother, auntie. I haven't come here to eat. I just want to love you for who you are, she said. No, it's okay. It's fine. I'm the one offering you food now, not you asking for it, said Nike. Before Yetunde could refuse the second time, she ushered her to the table. Eat your food, Yetunde. It's a sign that I have forgiven you, she said after she noticed that Yetunde wasn't eating. Few minutes into the meal, Nike spoke. Look up, Yetunde. This is how to use the fork and knife. I realized that you have been using the spoon despite the option of the fork and knife, said Nike, who had fork and knife in her hands. Yetunde smiled. Auntie, is it not to eat? All this fork and knife culture is rubbish to me. My spoon does a better job, she said, smiling. So, by the time you have to cut the chicken, what will you do? Nike asked. What happened to my hand? I will use my hand to do justice to it. What's there? She said, picking a meat from her plate and eating with her hand, just to demonstrate her fat to Nike. Nike was pissed off. It's like you are not yet ready for this friendship. I'm trying to teach you how to eat before great people, and you are allowing that crass behavior of yours sleeping. Didn't you promise few minutes ago to do all I asked you to do? Yetunde saw that she was getting angry. Auntie, please don't be angry. I didn't know you were serious. Please show me again. I am ready to learn now. Have I ever given you the impression that I am a joker? I am serious about your life. Serious about helping you grow beyond mediocrity. If you want to be great, you have to learn how to hit among great people. These little things matter, said Nike. Seeing the sorry expression on Yetunde's face, she got into the lesson and taught her how to use a fork and knife confidently. Yetunde didn't look happy, but she cooperated. After the meal, they went into the living room. What about your jobs? Nike asked. They are fine, she said, and continued pressing her phone. Nike stared at her, obviously wanting more information. Yetunde, she called. Yes, ma. You don't give a scanty information about yourself to someone who cares about you. That's you throwing their kindness back at their chest. Now tell me, what happened to your jobs? Why were you not able to afford your hospital bills? Why were you unable to have food in your house when you got discharged? Tell me everything. Because according to Dupe, she said you worked in nothing less than 10 houses. So she saw no reason why you shouldn't be able to pay your bills, she said. Yetunde looked surprised. May God punish this auntie and her big mouth. Did I send her to be counting it for me? She said. Nike's eyes flashed in despair. Don't use curse words in my house again, and don't act in such manner before me again. If something has been said about you which isn't correct, You are simply to clear the air and tell us the truth about the situation. People will always talk about you. Cause from now till eternity, you can't take that away from humanity. And don't forget, you guys used to be very close. So it isn't out of place if she knows some things about you, she said. Yesterday was silent for a while and then responded, well, it's true that I used to work as a cleaner in 10 different houses, but I now work in 3, she said. Nika looked surprised. What happened? 3 out of the houses got a replacement for me when I was sick. The remaining 4 I left in anger because their shakara was too much, she said. Nika stared at her. What do you mean by that statement? She asked. Those rich people always act like gods. They will always expect me to greet them first. They talk to me anyhow. I changed it for one of them in a particular house. I almost beat her herself. Then she reported me to the estate management and they sent me away, she said without remorse. And why didn't you go back there to beg? She asked. Why would I go back there to beg when they were the ones that offended me? I didn't go. I even left my 1 month salary for them angrily to show them I can live without their salary, she said. Yesterday, Nika screamed. Ma, you mean this is how you've been living? No wonder Dupe said you were poor and arrogant. She said that? Asked Yetunde angrily. Yes, she said that. Should I escort you so that you will go and slap her? And see if you won't spend the next 3 days in cell. You have to understand that some people are not your mates, and no matter how painful it is one of the realities of life. You have to learn to greet people. Be humble. Someone that is bigger than you is bigger than you. Someone that is bigger than you can change your life, either positively or negatively. Tread with caution when you are around them, said Nika. Yetunde laughed. What's special about rich people? The only thing I lost from the fallout with them was my job, not my life. Nika shook her head. You almost lost your life. I came through for you in the hospital. You couldn't pay your bills. That was you at the verge of losing your life. You lost your dignity. You had to come to my house to stylishly beg for food. Yetunde looked out from the statement. If this will hurt you, let it hurt you, as long as it will drive sense into you. Who told you you didn't lose a lot? Just increased the number of years you will spend in poverty. By now, your next move should be how to own a cleaning agency. But here you are, looking for more houses to make up the other 7 that you lost. You can't be poor and be arrogant and hot-tempered too. That's too risky for you, and it's a luxury only the wealthy can afford. You will stay long in poverty, my dear. Don't forget your cleaning skill is everywhere. You can be fired today and replaced today. It isn't the same for you. Have you been able to get a replacement for the jobs you lost? Yetunde thought about it. What happened to the other jobs you lost? There were prostitutes living in the compound. I didn't want to be in the same space with them, so I left, she said. Nika was gobsmacked. You mean this is how you will be living every opportunity? If you are in the same space with people who live a lifestyle that you don't live? It means you will likely still leave more jobs and even change your house when a prostitute moves in, said Nika. Yetunde moved uneasily in her seat. What about the other jobs? Asked a disturbed Nika, trying to calm herself down. That mansion over there. There was this man that loved calling me. He called me too much. I would clean his house. He would still call me after I left. I stopped picking after the first week I got the job. He complained many times, and when I saw how he was complaining over mere calls, I stopped going there. My friend from the village said it is ritualists that usually call someone like that. So, I had to run for my life. We all know many rich people are ritualists, said Yetunde. Nika was in shock. So, you believe most rich people are ritualists? Am I a ritualist? Asked Nika. No, You are different, she said and smiled. How did you know I'm different? Asked Nike. You go to church, she said. Oh, so everyone who goes to church is a saint? Nike asked. Yesterday was quiet, smiling. Do you go to church? Asked Nike. No, I don't have spiritual problems, she said. So, church is for people who have spiritual problems? Asked Nike. Yesterday was quiet. Are you aware that many of the things I know today about confidence and self-composure were things I was taught in my church? Do you know the first person I stayed with when I got to this city was someone from the church? Do you know I got this job of mine through a contact I made in the church? Yesterday opened her eyes wide. No wonder. I've been wondering why you are this talented, yet broke. Too many limiting beliefs. A man can't rise beyond his beliefs. Let's go out, she said. Where are we going? Nike didn't answer as he went in to change and came out. Let's go. Yesterday followed her humbly, confident that she can't be misled by her. As showing up to help her sort abuse in the hospital when everyone she knew left her had solidified her trust in her. They went past Dupe who was coming in. Nike and Dupe exchanged greetings. Yesterday didn't greet Dupe. Why didn't you greet her? Asked Nike as they continued walking. She's not a good person, she said. But is it true that she tried to correct you many times and you walked out on her? Asked Nike. Yes, it is. Then, she's a good person. She just got fed up of your disrespect towards her. They stood at the roadside, and soon their ride came. After some minutes, Nike and Yetunde were seated before a counselor cum therapist. Nike had been given a form to fill, and she had filled in the limiting beliefs that she was able to pick from her conversation and past interactions with Yetunde. The therapist said she would be enrolled for a 3-month program. Nike faced Yetunde to explain what was going on to her. Your participation in this program will show me if you really want me to be in your life. Don't show up in my place till then. I will keep interacting with her to get feedback as to how you are doing. Any negative feedback, consider this relationship over, she said and left, leaving Yetunde in disbelief. A week later, Yetunde had sent her a message asking her for money for tea as she had started the program. He was also asking for money for lunch whenever she is there. Nike chuckled. So this girl thinks she's doing me a favor. She didn't respond. He kept calling the therapist though. She had even thought Yetunde would stop going after she refused to reply. But to her surprise, the therapist gave a good report about her after 3 months. She never missed a class, she said. Nike wanted to call her, but she restrained herself. She wanted to see some things that would convince her that she was no longer an entitled person. The next day, Yetunde had sent her a message to tell her of her completion in the program. She had also sent her a package of gifts to her house. Nike had given her strict instructions not to show up in her house unannounced again, and she respected that. Nike didn't reach out to her. She wanted to be sure she was mature enough for what she wanted to do for her. She didn't want a needy friend. 3 months later, Nike called her. She picked on the first ring. Nike had called with her office line. Nike was pleased. Yetunde doesn't pick calls at the first ring. She told her to come to her office. In an hour's time, Yetunde arrived at the office. She greeted everyone she met right on the gate without an air of arrogance. My auntie, she screamed tearfully as she went to hug Nike when she saw her. She shed some tears as she remained locked in her embrace. I will forever be grateful for the gift of you. Do you know I went back to those houses I used to work and I apologized to them? I offered to give them 1 week of free service and they accepted my apology. They took me back. They said the other cleaners didn't clean as good as I cleaned. Auntie, I was surprised that I could take the bold step to go apologize to them. It wasn't in my nature to apologize, but after my counseling sessions, I realized it didn't make sense to lose months or years to repeating a process, all because of being too big to greet or apologize. I was taught to learn to make people feel good. I was taught to learn to make people feel like kings and queens, and I would enjoy their benevolence. I've been enjoying the gift of referrals, auntie. It's been massive. I've had to employ more hands to help me. My life changed because of you. I still can't believe this is me. Broke down in tears. Nika got emotional and cleaned some tears. This is just the beginning. I called to let you know that my company has a massive state event that it would be hosting, and they have recommended you for the cleaning job. This job will pay you nothing less than 500,000 naira, and if you do it well, be sure of plenty referrals, she said. Nika and Yetunde had gone home together in the evening. Yetunde went to Dupe's flat to beg her. No one instructed her to, she just did. It was then that Nika knew she had really changed.